So the New York Knicks have had some major issues over the past basically a month. In their last 11 games, they've lost 9 out of the last 11. They've dropped to third in the East, which, to be honest, with the way they've played, they're lucky they've only fell to third in the East. But they're not that far out of the play-in. I mean, that's how close they are right now to being at, like, rock bottom, for real. Ever since winning the Cup, this basketball team has felt so much like last year's team. It's insane. And I know the roster is pretty much similar, but you would have thought with some changes that maybe this team would just operate differently, and it just hasn't happened. I mean, to be honest, I'm not going to lie to you. This video is going to be a little more raw and unfiltered because I am a Knicks fan and they are worth the conversation, at least. They're worth the video, just not for the right reasons. I mean, this team, offensively, it's like they lack a second creator outside of Brunson, especially when it gets rough in the half court. And their supporting cast has just been so inconsistent. And I mainly mean like the core pieces. OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Karl-Anthony Towns. Just inconsistent. The entire, basically since the Cup. Just an inconsistent core group of guys. But my main issues have been mainly like the play of Mikal and Cat. And I know OG Anunoby isn't safe because he has been pretty much up and down as well. But these are the two guys that they pushed all the chips in for back in the 2024 offseason. And Mikal Bridges still, he just lacks that dog. He just lacks aggressiveness. And he's just not as great defensively as his reputation would show. He just lacks physicality in his game so bad. He can't fight over screens. He can't get over screens. You put him in the pick and roll, he's cooked. I mean, it's just all around like, I don't even know what to say. He can't break a guy down one-on-one. You know, when you traded for him, he was supposed to be like your secondary creator in the aspect of like, for example, if Brunson sat down or if Brunson was hurt, he'd be the guy to soak up some of that ball handling usage and really go to work. And, you know, maybe do it his own way, but he'd find a way, right? Maybe turn the clock back to like Nets Mikal Bridges when he first got moved. This guy continues to just basically be mediocre every time I watch him. And it's like he's afraid of contact. I don't know what's wrong with this dude, but I've been saying this since last season. I mean, it's just, I'm not a huge fan. I'm sorry. I'm just not. Like, is he a good basketball player? Is he a solid basketball player in general? Yeah, but I don't know. He's just not moving the needle for me. I really don't care about him like that. As for Karl-Anthony Towns, I mean, at times, he just looks so lost offensively. He can't hit shots. He just can't. And I don't know if it's just maybe his personal feelings are in the way about maybe the coach or whatever. Maybe he's not as locked in. I don't know what's going on. But a guy that is arguably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, three-point shooting big ever, can't hit threes. The man can't hit nothing. His efficiency at the rim has went down. And obviously, you get the stupidity that he brings night in and night out. And it gets old. It just gets old. I don't know what else to say. But the thing is, even with all the struggles, this team has still been like good offensively throughout it all, right? Now, mind you, they were elite when the season first started. They've been good recently. Take that for a note, right? This team has to be elite offensively. They can't be good because their defense is god awful. They are trash on the defensive side of the floor. Defensively, the Knicks are ranked, well, when I took notes, they were 19th in defensive rating. Maybe they've dropped. I don't know. I don't care. Since New Year's Eve, this team has been one of the worst in basketball. One of the worst defensive teams in basketball, hands down. Personnel issues galore on this end of the floor. Jalen Brunson is having his worst defensive season as a Knick. He's been the worst defender on this team hands down this season. And then when you mix that with guys like Cat, Jordan Clarkson, Yabusele, even though he barely plays, but I'm throwing him in there anyways because he sucks. Mikal Bridges being mid. OG Anunoby having ups and downs. It gets ugly sometimes defensively. They cannot get consistent stops at all. It feels almost impossible for them to lock down against a competent offensive team. Also, their lack of athleticism as a team kills them, especially on the point of attack. Outside of Deuce McBride, they just give up paint penetration with ease, and it just allows sprays for open threes. Open corner three. Open corner three, swing pass to the wing. It's just, I don't even know what else to say about this team defensively besides the fact that they suck. They suck. I don't know. They look really shaky versus like these athletic backcourt teams. Like Detroit is physical, athletic. They got into them, really made it hard for them. Orlando, the Spurs, yeah, they beat the Spurs in a cup game, but they did give them fits even in that game, and they gave them fits the second time. The Suns have gave them some fits. The Sixers have gave them hell. Now, obviously, if you want to make some changes on the margins, that's maybe like a Jose Alvarado or whatever, point of attack defender or wing or whatever you bring on this team that has some toughness to them, I guess you can try that out. But I'm starting to believe that this team has like bigger issues, and a marginal move is not really going to do much. They may need to consider getting on that phone with some teams and moving some core guys around and just shifting it around and maybe just changing the energy of this team, because this team, and I know, they made the conference finals last season. They were what? 2 games, a game away from making the NBA finals. And I know Tom Thibodeau got a lot of blame, and I blamed a lot of, their failures last season on him. But I did also believe that this team had some core issues just roster construction wise, and those issues are starting to pop up again. And a lot of people are getting on Mike Brown for supposedly being a worse coach than Tibbs and all this stuff. And I'm not going to sit here and act like Mike Brown's done a great job, but this team just feels flawed at the core of its roots. At the base level, this team feels so flawed. And I thought maybe, with the Eastern Conference being somewhat open, Indiana being out the pitcher, Boston not having Tatum, but Boston's been pretty good though, I thought they'd be like the favorite or the second team, favorite wise to come out the East. And right now, maybe they still are. Maybe the Vegas odds still believes in them. And maybe the talent just gets them there. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. At the end of the day, maybe they pull wins out of their ass like they did last season in the playoffs, and they find themselves playing in the NBA Finals, and they get just, destroyed in the finals versus the Western Conference team, right? Who knows? But you just can't tell me that this team is fun. You can't. I don't know. You really can't tell me that this team is fun. Last season, they weren't fun. I can't really say they were ever at one point. I mean, I guess you had some fun with those couple Boston comebacks in the playoffs. But outside of that, this team was not fun. And they have the same issues. And they survived that playoff run some way, somehow. They got into some trouble with Detroit, Boston, and Indy. You could also look at this like maybe they're just in the dog days of the season. I don't know. But I'm starting to really get concerned with this Knicks team and their hopes of potentially taking advantage of a golden opportunity and making a long-awaited finals run that the fans deserve. And it feels like they're just throwing it away. I mean, that's pretty much how I feel right now. And yeah, I mean, they play Brooklyn next. Who knows what happens? Maybe Michael Porter Jr. goes off for 45. I don't know what's going to happen at this point because this team can't stop me or you. So we'll see. But yeah, the New York Knicks vibes, super negative. Supposedly, Karl-Anthony Towns has been, maybe getting shopped for, like I guess Memphis and Charlotte, and I forget who the other team, I think it was Orlando. But yeah, I don't know. This team needs to figure it out. If you're a fan of this team, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Team's garbage right now. If you're a basketball fan in general and you've been watching the Knicks, I think it's pretty obvious, especially if you have that non-biased point of view. This team has some flaws. They need to lock in, get it together, because right now there is some major issues going on with the New York Knicks, and it could have some long-term effects on this team if they don't figure it out sooner rather than later. Anyways, that's going to do it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This has been The Checkup, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.